viewers to Ifish, Ufish TV. This afternoon we're going to make some homemade burley. You've got myself, Josh and Blake here. What we've done, mate, we've just collected up all our old bait that we've been storing in the freezer. So you've got a combination. A lot of people make burley pretty complicated, mate, but I think it's simple. I think you just cut up your old bait, your leftover stuff from each trip, and store it up in the freezer, cut it up and chuck it in the blender, and usually we mix some chook pellets, a bit of water and sometimes some tuna oil. But what I do is I just get my blender, which I picked up for a bargain at one of the local markets, and then I just basically fill that with a bit of water, and then in go all my old bait just cut up. Don't really have to stress about how you cut it up, just any way. We just trim, chop, whatever we've got to do, and in with the blender and just whack the lid on there and give it a whack. As you can see, it just chops it all up, and I just keep slowly adding to that mix until I get a fairly thick consistency, which generally doesn't take too long, but all depends on what you're using and how much you've got. So we'll just chop some more up here, whatever we can, and back in that blender, and away we go. Some people like to keep the tails off the pilchards because they'll use them for bait later, but look, I just think if it's old enough stuff, you might as well just chop it all away. So we'll give it another hit. And what you can see there, viewers, is it's just basically like a thick gunk or a soup. So what we then do with that is we bring over my old burley tub here, which I've got. These buckets are great. You get these, go in your local Bunnings store and ask the guys in there. They're the old chain buckets, so I've got a heap of them, mate. They're great. They've got lids on them. You can store anything in them. So what I do then is I just pour my lump of goo in there, which is, it's like a Macca's Happy Meal for the fish. They love it. So we'll throw all that in there like that, get as much as we can out for now. Pop that over here, and then Blake, we need some chook pellets, mate, if you can, just a few handfuls. And in they go, just keep them coming, mate, keep them coming. We'll probably put in about a litre of gunk or burley goo, and we probably put in about, half a dozen big handfuls of chook pellets. We'll keep that going, Blake, if you can. And I'll just use me expensive stirring stick here to give it a bit of a stir. What we generally do with that, guys, is we'll leave that for half an hour or so. Probably a bit less today with the warmer weather. And what that'll do is those chook pellets will soak up everything, all that burley and all the goodness that's in those pillies I cut up in there. That'll soak it all up, and we'll get ourselves a nice consistency of fish magnet. So we'll leave that for a bit, come back and we'll have another look at it in about 20 minutes. Alright viewers, welcome back to Ifish, Ufish TV. This is Josh. That's Blake. What we're going to do is, as I said, we waited 20 minutes or so just to see how this burley came up, and it's probably where we need it to be. So what I do is I've got my burley pot that goes on the back of my boat. I'll just bring this over for everyone to have a look at. It just sits on the back of the boat, and what I do, mate, the perfect storage container for that burley to freeze it is your old Pepsi, Coke, whatever you want to call it, 2 litre bottles from the supermarket. So, you know, I just hassle my mates and family and friends to keep their empty plastic bottles. And then I get my expensive knife again, and we'll just go straight through it. So without cutting my fingers off, I'll just do the old wrap around with the knife. It's, as I said, mate, pretty uncomplicated stuff, this burley making. So I'll pop that down there, and there's no way around this, guys. You've got to just get your hands in there and get filthy. So as we take that out, you can see that consistency. It's just basically balls of burley. So thanks for that, Blake. I just pack these in. You're going to get the place messy, but it's a clean up afterwards, and I just pack them in there like that until I've got a full container. Not too full, sort of about there somewhere, guys. So that's about the consistency you want, the level of the container. So then that just houses straight in my burley pot, frozen. Obviously that goes in the freezer. We get that out of the freezer the morning before, and we drop that straight in the pot out the back of the boat. So there you go, guys. That's it. That's there goes my daughter, just straight through there, darling. So that's what we do. I do as many as I can of those and freeze them up, and that's it. It's burley making made simple. All right, guys. So I love you and leave you, and stay tuned for our next segment of Ifish, Ufish TV.